Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Sportsman's Warehouse, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and Avery Superstore.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Golly.
And it's October.
It's October, and Carl Jochumsen, was that not cool talking to Carl?
There's a phrase in Australia, you go on a walkabout. He went on an
extended walkabout to win that bass fishing tournament. And I know Gene Smith left because he couldn't understand him, but Gene is back.
Well, I think we used to have a guy in our shop from Australia.
You did?
Yeah. And his brother shot those 500-yard competitions.
We know James Garner.
He went out looking for Vegemite.
No. James Garner was, in sports, your local sheriff was always, I'm on my way to Australia.
That's right, he was, yeah.
All right, well, let's get back and talk to somebody from Dyersburg. Lives in Weakley County right now that I'm sure these are busy times for this young man. He is the wildlife biologist, big game TWRA out of our region here, and that is Jeremy Dennison. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning, Mr. Larry. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk. And I know that this is you've got a job, buddy. I mean, this this is one of those years that I'm writing about in Sunday's commercial appeal about. I don't think I've ever had a deer season
so different
yeah. This year in all of my career, and I've been around for a while. So from your standpoint, I kind of looked up some figures through Wednesday. It's like 1,400 and something deer killed statewide during the archery season, which opened last Saturday. And then I looked up 167 deer killed from the Tennessee River west. And, of course, we had earlier on in the show, we had Dave Payne from Dave's Deer Processing talking about how slow it is. So I can't blame it all on CWD. It has been a little warm to this weekend. So talk about what you're hearing out there.
Well, it has been rather warm and rather dry for a start here. So, but compared to last season, as far as the opening weekend goes, and this is just looking at our 8-county CWD unit, the harvest was actually up 10. So
really,
yes, sir. So there's still people getting out there. It's just off to a warm start, but hopefully after this weekend, the weather's going to kind of get right, and a lot more people will get a field.
Well, I know that, and Dave has the press release that was put out by the agency from Amy about Gibson County being added. But the way I understand it, Gibson County, that will be under the restriction or whatever. It won't change the season dates or anything in Gibson County. It will still have the 6 counties that are considered part of the CWD unit, but this one is under the high risk, I guess. So even though it adds another county, it does not mean that you folks in Gibson County are going to be able to hunt in Gibson County on these special days. So
yes, and actually, the sample was taken in a little bit farther north, more north in Madison County than our previous one, and it actually is within 10 miles of Gibson County and Crockett County.
Okay,
but just barely. But yeah, you're right. The only 2 things that change automatically are the feeding restriction and the transportation restrictions. The hunting seasons are business as usual as of right now.
And we talked about that. A lot of questions, Jeremy, and I know you've had to field a bunch of them wherever you might go about what you can put out and feed and things along that line, and 100 yards from the house and things along. We have those things. So in your position, you got to be a walking encyclopedia now. I mean, you've really had to brush up on it. Kind of fell in your lap. So talk about that from your job standpoint.
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as it just falling in my lap, I've been with the agency for 10 years and just promoted to the big game job in November of last year. So about a month later is when all this kicked off. So
yeah.
So I'm by no means an expert in CWD. I don't know if anybody is, but I've had to learn more about it in the last few months than I thought I ever would. But yeah, it's a busy time. So
and you don't, we're one of those pushers for this. I've heard this comment, and you have too. Dave has, and Gene has. That I'm just not going to hunt. We don't want that attitude, do we?
No, sir. That's the last thing we want is to lose participation from our hunters. That's bad for everybody. That's bad for the agency. It's bad for deer processors, such as Mr. Dave that you had just talked to.
Yes.
And it's bad for the resource. The last thing we need is for those populations to kind of go unchecked. Through hunting. Hunting is one of the most powerful tools as far as wildlife management that we have. So the hunter is a very important partner with this.
And you kind of, up 10, you say, that does surprise me. But then again, as Dave will say, Dave lives up in Henderson County, and it has been dry. I mean, so I have got deer eating in my wife's garden things they've never eaten before: bell peppers, okra, and all these different kind of things. You, from a as a biologist on this, what's the word you feel like as far as the herd is doing?
I think the herd is doing well, all things considered. With it being dry like this, like especially as it's been here late in the
yes.
summer, we get a lot of EHD reports, and that's something that's probably a little bit worse than average this year in certain counties. I know the counties along the Tennessee River seem to be getting hit pretty hard.
Now, EHD, explain that to my listeners. I got a truck driver going down through Mississippi, and he said, "What did he say? EHD? What does that mean?" So tell us what that means. I know what it means, but you.
All right, EHD is an epizootic hemorrhagic disease.
I just wanted you to say it anyway. That was the main thing. So
you just
I have
wanted me to stumble over that.
I have trouble with ornithology. Okay, so but
hey, you said it.
Yeah,
I did. I haven't ever said it. I just said it. But don't ask me to say what EHD does. So, but go ahead, Jeremy. What is it?
Yeah, hemorrhagic disease it's a virus that affects deer, and it's actually spread by biting gnats that usually occurs late in the summer. And it just.
But we've had reports of it. Yeah, we've had reports of it.
Yes, sir. We have reports every year. It's one of those things that it cycles through every year. Some years it's worse than others. Usually it's worse on a year like such we're having right now, where it's really dry. So. As these water holes dry out, it exposes, mud in these banks and everything, and that's where these insects, hatch and everything. So, but it's a virus that affects the deer, kind of like the flu virus maybe in humans. It causes them to run a high fever. They actually, a lot of times, will end up going to water to try to cool themselves, and that's why this time of the year we see a lot of deer being found in or around water sources.
But what about the hunters if they kill a deer with that? Just report it to y'all, and if they got
EHD.
Dave is going to say something, I think.
Well, unlike CWD, EHD, deers can survive EHD.
Okay,
and most of the time, your typical hunter out there will not
even know.
Why? No, he won't see his deer, exhibit symptoms. Until he stumbles over the carcass by a water hole somewhere.
Yeah,
right. And now, if a hunter kills a deer and it has sloughing and cracking on the hooves, that's a good indication that deer's actually survived EHD.
Oh,
and the good thing about EHD is a doe that survives it can then pass on the antibodies to her fawns, so makes them a little more resistant to it.
So there's a good, bad, whatever you got right here, and it is. And I've had people say, "Well, that's coming up with CWD. Now we got to worry about this." No, just be cool, okay? Let's
exactly.
let's calm down, because I know what this means. And again, we're talking to Jeremy Dennison. He is our regional wildlife biologist for big game here in Tennessee. As he said, he started in this new position back a month before CWD was discovered last year. Now I say discovered because it's been here. So you guys have been busy spreading the good news and trying to keep this organized. So are you confident from your position that we can still have a productive deer season if the hunter will just get out there, Jeremy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's, we hope everybody has a good season. There's a few regulations that'll be new to folks as far as where you can transport your deer. Best thing folks can do is just kind of plan ahead, as far as, where you intend to take your deer to get it processed or to transport it.
Well, there's going to be fewer of those, I can tell you that. And we know that Dave's deer processing is going to be our main source here on Outdoors with Larry Ray because he's still open. The door's open,
yes,
the
sir.
bell's ringing, whatever it might do. And hopefully this and folks got to go. You got to go to tnwildlife.org or go to the CWD page in the guide. And get the information's there. Believe me, you can get overwhelmed. You need a pocket guide. I know that if somebody will donate the money to put a pocket guide, rather than have to go to page 48 and look at the 5 pages there to try to do it. But there are avenues for these things, folks, and I know your wildlife officers are out in the field. They're out there right now checking for bait, and you got to be careful on that because we had a guy on last week that confirmed to us that the baiting laws are out there. You got to be careful about it and not let it get overwhelmed. And I've always been a salt block guy, and well, I don't have to lug them around anymore. I mean, you're looking at me like a deer with Dave is over here trying to figure out where I'm going.
I just visualize you with a block under your arm.
Under both arms.
Under both arms.
Yeah, I carry them under both arms.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I recommend it.
Yeah, I recommend it. Hey, Jeremy, thank you, buddy, for being with us again. And there's what's that website now you can go to for just CWD? Isn't there a NCWD or something like that? What is it?
Yeah, if you'll look up CWD in Tennessee, it will direct you to the website and all this information there, including everything you need to know as far as where to take your animal to have it sampled, and all of our locations and everything's on there.
Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk to you again later when we get going the season, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Blair.
Thank you. All right, let's take a break. Now we're going to go back and talk to Sarah. Got a little ahead of myself. We'll be right back.
You'll catch up now.
I'm already I don't like ketchup, really.
Ketchup,
I don't eat a lot of ketchup.
You look more like a 57 man.
I am a Heinz 57 man. We'll be right back and try to figure that one out.